Good evening, everybody. I am Tieesha, and I'm back with another great video. Thank you, everybody, for standing by while I was going through some technical difficulties and I just had to get my mind right to talk about such a heavy topic. And this one here, if you don't know, I'm going to be talking about so-called swatting, which is actually, racial targeting. It's when someone, with ill intentions, suspected white supremacist uses law enforcement to attempt to carry out a hit on a certain person. Okay. And that just really, got me in my emotions when I was reading this story that happened back in September of a young sister in Texas where this actually happened to, and seeing the video, of her explaining what happened. So it just put me, in a spot where I just had to kind of shake the funk so I can put out something constructive and talk about this. And I was trying to find a way to, do it without getting emotional. So I changed the topic. I changed the thumbnail because it was just hitting me in a spot in my heart that I really didn't want to tap into tonight. So greetings, everybody that's here tonight. We have AK Sour God. We also have Kid Gravity and Beyond. Shout out to Kid Gravity and Beyond. We did a podcast the other day, and I will upload that when he uploads the video on his channel and also on his podcast. So make sure you head over and subscribe to this brother. He is like super cool. That was like the most funnest video ever, if that's a proper sentence. But I had a good time with that. So shout out to Kid Gravity and Beyond. We have Ennoble One, camera on point. I was actually working with this camera before, I started because I had it set to picture mode. I'm trying to get out of the habit of vlogging with my phone. So shout out to a good brother, Urban Photos ATL, that suggested this camera. My son got it for me for Mother's Day, and I'm trying to put it into use, learn how to, go out and vlog with this camera, also edit. So I appreciate everybody for working with me. And so let's go ahead and get into it. So I was on the fence if I wanted to talk about this and bring it up, but since we're on the topic of what they call swatting, and if you're not sure what swatting means, it's when this unknown person falsely calls 911 on you and makes up the story of something really horrible happening at your residence to elicit a response from the SWAT team, or to have officers on such high alert that it's a possibility you could lose your life. They'll make up stuff. I've read different stories on the internet about people who actually died from swatting. And someone that we all know that this happened to was Tariq Nasheed. Someone, unknown people swatted him to where it was actually on camera and he could have lost his life. The video is still up where he's walking outside of his home. The police are approaching on high alert. I'm sorry, law enforcement, the enforcement, officers are approaching on high alert. He's coming out with his hands up. He's handcuffed. His wife and his children are brought out. His home, is swept. And it was just totally uncalled for. And I know how that can just mess a person up. Now, like I said, I wasn't sure if I'll talk about it, but swatting actually happened to me. It happened. And I would tell you one thing, it will really just mess you up for life, because you really, that sense of feeling secure in your home is taken away. And when that happened to me, I did not practice how to respond when something like that happens to me, or I had no warning that it was going to happen. And just the ancestors was with me, my good sense, my common sense, because this was way before I found out about the code, how to act when you're behind enemy lines. And when it happened, I'm not going to get too much into detail because there is that possibility that I can still pursue legal action against the characters in that incident. But I was at home and this happened out of nowhere. And my baby, my son, he was little. He was sleeping on the couch right next to me. I was watching TV, and I did not know that someone had made up a story to send the race soldiers to my house. I was cool, calm, and collected. I heard what they said about me, and I knew that it was all fake. I sat there and I let everything play out. And after it was done, my Fourth Amendment rights were violated to the fifth power. And, at that time, I did not know what I know now. And so that's why I'm still like withholding certain details, because like I said, I could still possibly pursue legal action on the characters involved. But it definitely takes your sense of security away. You can't trust anybody. Like, okay, the police come up in my house like they did our sister Breonna Taylor. Who do you call on the police when they come and violate your rights? And in her case, take her life. So that's why this story with Kristen Evans, who she was in college down in Texas, I believe was Stephen F. Austin University. And what happened was, she's actually 17. Like, when you think college student, you think, 19, 18, 20 maybe. She's 17 years old. This is a child. This is our little sister. And her roommates made up, her roommate along with some other characters made up a lie about her threatening to harm other students with scissors. And in turn, the campus police came into her room at 3:00 in the morning, guns drawn, flashlight, just, we're not even deep into the school year. And this happens. And thankfully, our sister did not lose her life. I mean, being 17 and keeping her cool and her calm in that situation, salute to her parents. And as a result, it turned out that it was false. But all the characters involved, allegedly, I did not hear on the news where they're talking about they want to forgive them or they want to, have an apology, which is great. They should be brought to justice and prosecuted and convicted at the highest extent of the law, because it's not swatting. This is not where, I'm calling to SWAT you, because that's a joke. Like I was saying, we have these Call of Duty cops out here who, are out to play real life Call of Duty, like what happened with our sister Tatiana Jefferson. I have a video on my channel about that, as well as our sister Breonna Taylor. This is not swatting. It's not a harmless prank, because people lose their lives. And when these characters, these suspected white supremacists, do this, it's targeting Black people. It is a targeted hit on Black people to be carried out by the police. They have this term called what is it called? Officer assisted suicide. Oh no, it's called suicide by cop, where a person tries to get the police to kill them. However, in this situation, this is a targeted hit orchestrated by someone who has a hatred to Black people, to be carried out by the police. And that's exactly it. So in the instance of Tariq Nasheed, when he had this targeted hit carried out on him, in my situation where that targeted hit was carried out on me and my baby was laying next to me, that's something that I would never forget. I would never forget. And as I was saying, it was just, at that time, I had no clue about the code. I was there, just, okay, this is happening. And I have my baby next to me. I won't say unfortunately, but what happened that night, my son was actually sick. And, he fell asleep on the couch next to me. And I was monitoring him, because I'm like, well, if he gets the temperature, I'm going to go up the street to Walgreens. I'm going to just, take care of him. But I was actually monitoring him, and he stayed asleep throughout the whole thing. And I told him about it the next day, So I wish the absolute worst on every character involved in that situation that occurred to me, because it's a point, it's a level where you can violate me, but when my baby's involved, there's no safe space. I wish the absolute worst on everybody involved. And I'm actually finding out that people, from that area are watching my YouTube channel. I get comments and inboxes. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are kind of nervous now that I actually, I'm speaking out about things and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope they're on their toes, and, you will be handled, to the highest level that the law allows. So I still wish you the absolute worst. And that's why, I feel as though I would never, ever, ever live in Virginia again. Never. So speaking of swatting, like I said, it was false 911 calls and, to elicit their response on Black people. And it's a targeted hit. And I was speaking with a brother earlier who is into like cybersecurity and what is it? Cybersecurity and electronic forensics, I want to say. And he gave out a couple of tips, to protect yourself. He recommended that everyone go to Google yourself, see what comes up. At that time, I purchased a home. So that's all public information that is on the internet. And that's why I would never go and live in that house ever again. But, all the information is online. Do what you can to hit up these websites that have these so-called people searches and take your information off of there. The best that you can, have different addresses, different PO boxes and stuff like that. Have your mail and stuff sent otherwise. He also was saying when you're online, do your best to use a VPN and other like IP hiders and stuff like that, which, is really, really good advice. Also watch your children, they play different video games and I know you have to go live on certain stuff. So make sure that all of your internet security is there. I remember when I was a police officer and I did a traffic stop. I did a traffic stop on this totally just jacked up vehicle, which should not be on the road. I don't think I pulled it over, or I probably just responded. But this vehicle, it was just not road ready. And I remember the mom showed up and she actually had a police scanner and she showed up to our location because she said, "Hey, I heard my son's description, his vehicle description over the police scanner." And so she said she cuts it on whenever he's driving home or whatever. And she came out, and that made me, that's when I became wise to the First Amendment auditors and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing. So they listen and, just hear what's going on. And of course, you have to listen to a scanner if your jurisdiction is not encrypted, or anything like that, or on a secure frequency. And you have to listen to it 24/7 to hear what is going on around you. But if your area allows that, I have a scanner. Let me see, it's on the floor. But you can get a scanner off of Amazon for like $30. Hang on, I'll show you. Yeah, here's mine. You can get a scanner for like $30. And this one is, I haven't programmed it for my current area. It's actually still programmed for up in Washington. So I don't even know if I still know how to use it. Yeah, but you can switch it to different frequency mode. And the battery is low as well. Menu. Yeah, it talks to you. You can program it, but I haven't updated it to my current location. But I'll put the link for this one in the description if you want. The brand is Baofeng. I'll type it in. It is Baofeng. And it looks like this. So if you see it, that's it. It comes in a brown box and you have a disc in there where you can program it to your local area and stuff like that. Like I was saying, I touched on doxing as well. Doxing is when someone takes all of your personal information and just makes it public online, everything that's like PII. And that also happened to our brother Tariq Nasheed, where someone who claimed that they worked in some kind of, federal office, and they put his tax information and stuff like that online. And I'm like, wow, this stuff actually happens. My stuff is pretty much public anyway. Like I said, I work in the public, so everything is out there. So all I've done was just monetize it. Everybody else used my image, my name to promote and sell their products and recruit other people. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to monetize myself, my name, and my brand. So I'm out there. Shout out to the person who wrote a bio on me. I really appreciate you. Another one is the KK Karen. KK Karen. And shout out to the Black Authority, because he had put up a billboard, raising awareness and bringing attention to this issue up in New York. But there definitely should be harsh penalties, charges brought on someone who makes a false report to the police, makes a false 911 call, embellishes anything that is targeted to Black people, because it's been shown we get a different response. You can have someone my exact age, complaining or making a report on the same thing, or somebody make a report on the same person. The only difference is they're non-Black, and they would get a different response. And there's no way to reform that. There's no such training course to eliminate that or eradicate that. It's just going to be there. So when someone falsely makes a report with the intentions of having a Black person harmed, illegally detained, embarrassed, anything, that should be treated under a separate law, and it should have severe repercussions, severe punishment, convictions, and we should have a protection as Black people, because we are the ones who have been targeted since we've been here, since all this stuff has come into play. We've shown that there are discriminating practices against Black people. And there's no way around it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It exists. Now it's time to punish that. Punish those who act out on those behaviors. So I'm gonna take a break. Shout out to Dark Side, brother Michael Wharton. Jay, you said invest in a police scanner. Absolutely. Bail thing. You said you slipping. Yeah, I really am slipping. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that up to par. It's just, I don't know. I've taken a moment, like these past couple of months of living in Georgia. I just had a chance to kind of decompress. I'm not saying I let my guard down, but I just had a chance to kind of decompress and really just take a breather for a moment. I'm not saying I'm safe. I mean, like I said, anything can happen to any of us. Like my door, anybody can come through it at any moment. You know what I'm saying? But I just really had a moment to not be on high alert all the time. And it's been really, really good. At times I am, it pops up, but I've been through so much. It's like, and that brings me to another point. I'm always thinking about my reaction in that standard operating procedure. Maybe because, being in the military and working in paramilitary environments for so long, you constantly think about how you're going to react to these different stimuli or these different variables. And with our sister who was in college, our sister Kristen Evans, I'm not sure if she rehearsed this with her family or if her parents, are super on code as a united front. They got an attorney. They're there with their daughter. They're not talking that forgiveness crap as of yet, but I'm not sure, how well they prepared their daughter for leaving their home. And as well as our brother Tariq Nasheed, I was watching his video a few minutes ago because, like I said, this just tugs at my heart, a certain way. And he's like, you know what? I went out of my house. I was on code. I was a straight up G when I came out my house. And he was like, I wasn't doing this. I wasn't doing that. They were not going to do this. But, it brings us back to being on code. And that's what I refer to a lot. Like, I wish I had this book 20 years ago. 20 years ago, that would have made me what, 15? I wish I had started reading this at 15, because this is like your Bible for the real world. And this is the United Independent Compensatory Code System concept. I always get the words jumbled. No disrespect to the elder Neely Fuller Jr. You can get this book at producejustice.com. Okay. I refer to this book all the time, but I only read it in the house. That's why it still has its crisp corners, because I refuse to take it out of the house. I refuse to loan it out to anybody. But there's a section in here on law, and it tells you how to respond when you're behind enemy lines. At the time when my so-called targeted hit, my so-called swatting happened to me, I was a police officer. I was just off duty in my house, but I was a police officer. So you would have thought like, hey, this would be the time to, let them know what I know. They knew who I was. They saw the police car parked outside. And that did not stop them from coming in my home to carry out this would have been targeted hit had I acted a certain way. Even if you don't, you can be booty butt cheeks naked in the bed and they can still carry out a targeted hit. But at the time, I was when I read this, it's like, well, I was behind enemy lines. And you act accordingly. I'm not going to take that moment to show, oh, I know this, I know that. And at the time I did what was necessary for me to sit here in 2020 and talk to you about it. But there's a whole section in here, area 5 on law. And yeah, it's just profound. Like, I don't want to cheat you out of anything. And it was saying too, I think in one of his broadcasts, he said it's okay if you're doing a review, but it's a portion that says, do not seek or expect pity, sympathy, mercy, help, protection, or support of any kind for any person, including yourself. And it goes on and on. I won't go more into it, but this it just talks about how to respond when you're behind enemy lines. And most notably, he states, don't fuss, don't fight, don't flee. I didn't fuss, didn't fight, I didn't flee, let everything unfold. And, what I know now is that it's more that my attorney can use, to seek some kind of recourse for me. So I highly suggest you go to producejustice.com and pick up this book, and also get the word guide as well. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of police officers, many have no clue what the Fourth Amendment is. And it's really scary. It's really, really scary because, like I said, at that moment I could rattle off, what my private property is and what the Fourth Amendment says, what the exclusionary rule is, what exceptions to it is, and all types of other stuff. And it would do nothing but just worsen my situation behind enemy lines. But there's a lot to, and this will be a straight nerd video if I talked about, the Fourth Amendment and taught that. And plus, like I said, I'm not an attorney or a paid attorney spokesperson. I'm just a nerd and I happen to read stuff. And sometimes it makes sense in my mind, but not when I say it. But one training environment that I was in, they put us in these different scenarios. And one scenario played out real life to the T of something that, I encountered while on duty. And one was, if someone is sitting at a bus stop and just chilling, minding their own business, and you get an anonymous call, there's a person sitting at the bus stop and they have, a AK-47, something real, just outlandish, just random. And it's just for a person at a bus stop. And so they asked, how would you approach this person? And I'm like, I'm like, that's a person at a bus stop. I don't know who's calling this in. Anybody can call 911 and say something about somebody. That's not credible. I'm not going to run up on this person and, tight end tackle them. If tight ends tackle, I don't know. Tight end tackle them and arrest them. You can't do that. But you wouldn't believe how many other people in my training environment said that they would. And I told y'all in a different video about when I had like the worst fight of my law enforcement tenure was when we had this call that described this person to a T, where they're at, and that they were possibly selling narcotics. And when we got there, we saw this person, the description matched perfectly. But however, you just can't run up and tackle somebody and put them in handcuffs. You have to respect, and everybody has the right to privacy, the Fourth Amendment. So, you see this person, okay, what options do you have to approach this person? What legal right do you have to approach this person? And that unfolded, that was a story for another video that I don't want to really talk about. But with this whole swatting and targeted hit thing and these Call of Duty cops, where is the common sense? And you can't expect common sense because common sense is not common. for someone to report that a college student is threatening people with scissors and they're in the room by themselves, who the fuck are they threatening? I got scissors right here. Who the fuck are you threatening in a room by yourself? Why did y'all have to go in there, guns drawn, 3 o'clock in the morning, and terrorize this child in that manner? So I don't get it. And then they have this chief of police who comes on camera. They always put I mean, I can't say a lot of terms here because YouTube like to take my videos down before I even record them, but they like to put a Black person on there to talk against or to talk how diverse and how inclusive a situation is. Or, one thing I noticed, when you're in a work environment, they'll put a Black supervisor. Like in my cases, they will put a Black supervisor over me so that if anything happened, I couldn't go, or I would have limited options to report discrimination, because they'll say, oh, well, you have a Black supervisor. They'll do little sneaky shit like that, and it just gets on my nerves. But if I can leave y'all with a few things to look up, and it played into when I first reported my swatting incident, targeted hit, when I first reported it, and they have this thing called the good faith exception. I want you to go and look that up. The good faith exception when it comes into play with law enforcement, with law enforcement. And what is another one? And when you talk about the Fourth Amendment, I know this is like talking just straight jargon and things like that. Look up objective reasonableness when it comes to use of force and stuff like that. If I could spell it right, objective reasonableness. And I may have spelled that all wrong, but we'll get it out there. You know what I'm talking about. Look those up, because I just know a lot of stuff is a Fourth Amendment violation. And one thing with college police, college law enforcement, college cops, a lot of them are retired from other jurisdictions, or they've been out of the loop for so long, they get like a refresher to come on. As long as you can shoot and you can fit into a uniform and pass the physical agility, you can work there. And remember, our most notable college law enforcement officer, Ray Tenzing, at the University of Cincinnati. And University of Cincinnati has been under some hot water with their buildings named, after races in that area. Shout out Cincinnati. But I also want to get into how these kind of targeted hits on Black people negatively impacts the victim. You have that possibility of dying, that possibility of death. These are not just jokes. They're not pranks. They're not innocent. They're not victimless crimes. These are targeted assassinations that other people enact for to be carried out by police officers. That's just it. Why else would someone do that and make a lie and solicit such a response to an unsuspecting person? And the lack of common sense in this situation. One thing that I noticed, and yes, I say that my degree is really useless, my psychology degree. However, I obtained it because I saw that there was a lack of mental health services when I was in patrol. Yeah, you'll come across someone who may be, out in the street eating poop. Yeah, you can eat your poop. It's not a crime. But I would notice that certain officers would, wait until this person who is in desperate need of mental health services commits a crime to go put them in jail. Put them in jail, they get out. And it's like a cycle. You keep putting them in jail versus, hey, let's check this out from a mental health crisis standpoint, And that's what caused me to go and pursue my degree, because I'm like, there's something else going on. And if I could get through a situation easier versus fighting with that person who may be eating their poop, and talk them into getting services or having that knowledge and that network to get them services versus just thinking like, oh, okay, I can take you to jail once you commit a crime, my day would be a lot easier. And like I said, a lot of law enforcement officers out there are Call of Duty cops. They go to work, they get off work, they go play Call of Duty until they start the next shift. And I want everyone to be aware of that. I talked about that on another video when I talked about, like I said, I actually titled it Call of Duty Cops. And the other one was imminent assault by cop. I talked about that, okay? I mentioned our sister, Tatiana Jefferson, but also how so-called swatting and these targeted hits, you know, negatively affect the victim it's a violation of privacy. I'm pretty sure in my situation, you know, the race soldiers entered my home and illegally searched my home and committed theft of my property. And yeah, that violation of privacy, it can never be returned to you. Never. And with our sister, Kristen Evans, who is 17, first time in college, she can no longer live in the dorms anymore. You know, I wouldn't send my child to live in the dorms. I'm like, wherever you want to go to school, you know, we've been trying to talk to him about certifications and things like that. Wherever he goes to school, we'll buy him like either a duplex or a quadruplex where he can live in one unit rent free and collect rent from the other ones. There's no such thing as dorm living, but it's forever violation of your privacy. Also, you forever have a call for service in that jurisdiction associated with your name and the nature that law enforcement responded. So you can never shake that. It's always there. Anybody can have access to that. Even your address, my address where, you know, my attempted targeted hit happened at is going to always be attached to that address. And just unwanted attention. Like, after that, the aftermath of my incident, I didn't trust anybody. And I still have trust issues to this day, but you know, you never get that spotlight off of you. And it happens to kind of intimidate you and put you in this shell to where you don't want to ever talk about it. You want to put it in the past and forget about it. The best thing you can do is not be quiet about it, which is why I'm happy that our sister, and she has her strong parents behind her, and they're not letting this go away quietly, which is great. So 2 things that, you know, came to mind thinking about the swatting, you know, the KK Karen calls and stuff like that is veterans. Okay. Veterans, you know, be really careful, you know, because people can say anything about you. And at that time, when my incident occurred, you know, I had to file complaints because someone inappropriately labeled me Chris Dorner at the time. And that's when they were assuming that every Black person who's filing complaints against the police department could be a potential Chris Dorner. And that's why, you know, I talk about that more and more, because it happened. A lot of us, you know, were inappropriately and illegally targeted in the aftermath of that, just because, you know, and my background was the same as his, Navy veteran on the police department, making complaints for discrimination, excessive force, abuse of power, malfeasance. Okay. Put you right up there and you get a good target on your back like I did. And I talked about how that situation came to be. And then we talked about the red flag. But yes, all that can result in the victim of these targeted hits. If you're not taken out in these attempted hits, you have forever PTSD without even going to war, because you're behind enemy lines in your own home or however it happened. You have a forever PTSD. And I stress over, you know, deal with people lightly. You never know what a person has gone through. I mentioned this before. It was a slogan I saw somewhere, or somebody had this posted up somewhere, and it says, try to be kind to everyone, because you never know what battles they are fighting. And that brought up another point too, is like, still be kind to people, because you may catch your ass whooping that's meant for somebody else. You just happen to push that button. So be kind to people. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know what that person is going through. So if you just deal with everyone with a bit of empathy, it will pay off in the long run. So I talked earlier about having a standard operating procedure. No one expects to, have their door kicked open at midnight and you in the bed, booty butt cheeks naked, and somebody shooting up your spot. That night, I did not expect to be sitting there watching TV, eating spinach dip, and these rogue race soldiers, suspected white supremacists, come into my home and violate my rights. So I want you to leave here thinking about, your standard operating procedures. Think about what would occur if you were on a traffic stop. I talked about imminent assault by cops. It sucks that why is it that Black people, we gotta always be on the fucking guard, on high alert, tiptoe around everybody else? That's why right now things are the way they are, because we're tired of being targeted hits. We have been bossing, bending over backwards. Now it's time to say fuck that. We're gonna be on our feet and be a hard target. And I'm not advocating violence for anything. I'm saying, educate yourself, because like I said, that night I didn't, use force. I sat there and let everything unfold. And like I said, that's why I'm here in 2020 to talk about it. No, it was not okay. And all these years later, I still don't forgive or forget. Okay. But establish an operating standard procedure in your home. Talk with your children. They're going to leave your home eventually. Talk with your children and let them know who their real enemies are. Let them know that they have no friends. Shout out to the elder John Henry Clark. We have no friends. And that's the first thing I thought about with our sister Kristen Evans, who was at the Stephen F. Austin University. At her age, I was getting ready. Well, I joined the Navy at 17. So once I left home, I'm like, okay, we are the world. Everybody's my friend. One team, one fight. Now, this many years later, I'm like, shit, I put the I in team, okay? Ain't nobody my friend. I see my best friend when I see her in the mirror every day. That's my only friend. And that leads me to another book. Shout out to my sister, Miss Crawford. She suggested this book. And this was the only book by Sister Shahrazad Ali that I did not have. And I just scooped it up last week from Positive Vibes in Virginia. You can buy this book on Amazon and just look for the store. It'll say Positive Vibes. That's our brother Brett, who's in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So you can purchase from him. I got the book like the next day. But this book is called Things Your Parents Should Have Told You. It's time for Black youth to know the truth about their parents, America, and themselves. And I absolutely love this book. I'm reading it cover to cover, and it sparks great conversations with my son. Also, now I'm kind of like at that auntie age. So I talk with the young sisters, that I encounter every day, and they're going through the same thing. And I realized that their parents did not prepare them for the world. They were just like me when I was 17 and 18. If my sister's watching, she remembers my first roommates. And if I can go back in time and do things again, oh my goodness gracious. I was just too trusting and gullible in this world. And that's a big no-no for Black children going out into the world. My parents failed me just a tad bit. My mom did teach me about the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. She taught me about Rosa Parks that occurred on my birthday. But I really went out into the world too trusting. And Sister Ali has a section here, page 77, and it's called About Defending Yourself from the Enemy. And I know in her book, she does not like a lot of her content revealed, but there was a part. All of you know by now that we as African Americans, or you can change that to foundational Black Americans, live in a hostile environment. None of us are safe. We have never been safe here, and we should have told you that. So as parents, we must prepare our children and teach them about the world around them. Yes, we can shelter them in the safety of our own home if we have that, but we must prepare our children for when they leave our door. We have to bring them up and have them on code. We'll put hella scriptures on our children. Train up a child and bush it and all that other stuff. We got to put our children on code. We are not in a peaceful environment. There is a war towards us. You can watch TV and see the different situations our children are facing. They can't go to school because their hair is in locks. They can't go to virtual school in your house because they don't have vaccinations. Stupid stuff like that our children are still going through. And what do? Let's pray about it. Let's get an apology. Damn that. Okay? We still have to protect our children. And just because they turn 18 or 17 and leave our home for college, we're still their parents. And we have to teach them for the rest of our lives. So, like I said, Things Your Parents Should Have Told You by Sister Shahrazad Ali. It's a life instruction manual for Black teens and young adults ages 13 to 29 and older. This is straight talk advice for African American youth about how to survive in America and live a decent life of aim, purpose, and dignity. How many times have we heard that? Go find yourself. They don't have to find themselves if we tell them who they are and give them their purpose. And they won't wander around here, looking for this stuff. And this is featuring information on life, work, love, money, babies, education, food, health, religion, sex, and racism. That sounds so close to the 9 areas of people activity. Okay. Make sure you pick up these 2 books. You can find this one, the United Independent Compensatory Code Concept System by Neely Fuller Jr. at ProduceJustice.com. You can get this book, Things Your Parents Should Have Told You by Sister Shahrazad Ali, who is also the author of The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman and The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. And also one of my favorites, Are You Still a Slave? I got to actually do another video because when I did this video the first time, I was really upset. I was upset. So I got to do this video again because, like I said a lot of bad words in it. And I can just, when I go back and read and watch that video, I'm like, oh gosh, it takes me to exactly what I was going through. So I need to do this video again and give it its proper due. Okay. So y'all don't let me forget. Okay. What do you do? And I had a brother contact me, I think a week ago, and he was like, okay, a detective called me out of the blue and I was totally not expecting it. And, she was asking me questions, got me to agree to some stuff. And I'm like, what? So yeah, I had to talk to him. I'm like, I'm not an attorney, but I don't think you should answer phone calls anymore from that phone number. And I think that you should go seek legal representation immediately. So be on guard. Just know that just be aware of your most vulnerable times. Okay. Don't answer the phone. If you don't have to, don't answer the door. Because like I said, my situation, it was a vulnerable time. I was relaxed, chilling, not expecting a damn thing. And I get this phone call from an unsaved number. And the next thing I know, people are at my door. Yeah. Don't answer calls that you don't recognize or don't know. And it's okay to hang up and make some other phone calls, get some legal representation or whatever. Knocks at your door. You remember growing up, our parents told us, do not answer my damn door when I'm not there, or don't open the door for anybody, or don't do that. Evaluate your situation appropriately. Okay. In Brother Tariq's situation, he said the phone calls kept coming. He hung up like, what the hell? They called back. And he actually called the police to verify or called the dispatch to verify, like, what the hell is going on? And he got the instructions and he adhered to those instructions. So, yeah, investigate thoroughly and respond accordingly. Like I said, I'm not advocating violence or nothing. I want you to perform and know when you're behind enemy lines and when to, appropriately respond to your situation. Okay. You said that Eric said, damn, you got the whole library. I got some books back there. I got some more books over there, some more books in boxes. Like I said, when I tell you I am a nerd, I am a nerd. I read everything. I even have books down here under my feet. Yeah. These are some other books that I need for research. So, yeah, I guess I just got books every single all over the place. You said you was going in. And like I said, this was really a tough video. I probably won't watch this video again. I try to watch my videos and critique myself on how I can be better for the next one. But I probably won't watch this one because it'll just, get me in a really sad place. Because when you go through these traumatic experiences and you retell them and you tell them again to, possibly get some kind of justice, and it doesn't come through, or it's just not therapy for me to keep telling it over and over and hear and see myself and relive those moments. King James stated, I was very naive. My mother didn't teach me SHIT, but how to do a few things they taught her to do in the Army. Yeah, so we have to realize our parents really failed us. They really did. And the only thing that we can do right now is do better for our children. We have to do better. And I challenge myself. People say I'm hard on myself, but I just hold myself to a higher standard than my parents did. I'm like, I don't want my son to write a rap song about me on how I failed him and stuff like that. We have... And I got my Sagittarius cut back. It's almost Sagittarius season, the best zodiac out there. I'm just playing, but I'm just saying, the zodiac ain't nothing without Sagittarians. Stand a hard target. I'm going to come protect you. Yeah, we're both in Georgia now. We have the right to defend ourselves. I think about that situation. Shout out to Brother Ed from VA. How are you doing? But yeah, that's about it. So I'm glad I got that off my chest. Like I said, this was a hard video to try to get started. I was thinking about it all day and I kept postponing it. I was supposed to actually record this video last Friday, but I just kept making excuses to not do it and put it off, and I'll get in my emotions, but it's out there and I'm trying to do better as a content creator and get more, content uploaded and more of my thoughts. Like this book here, I'm sorry to slam stuff on my desk, but this book here is like full of content and things I need to do. I'm working with another brother that I've met here who's local. He's from Macon, Georgia, and he has agreed to give me the opportunity to tell his story, to document his birthplace and, his life. And I'm like, he's trusting me with this. So that's why I had to invest in my channel with the camera. I have two cameras right here. I have, my Sony a6400, my Canon. I have more camera equipment behind me. So I'm like, okay, I need to, not right there. That's one of my camera bags. So I'm like, I have to actually pack up stuff now and do this vlog thing that I love so much. So I'm really excited that he trusted me to bring this story to life. And I'm working on that. And I tell you what, it's just amazing. I'm actually in a really good place. Like 2020 has really been good. To everybody else, it may have been really crappy, but when I look at the Facebook memories of where I was a year ago and 2 years ago, I'm definitely in a great place. So I'm really happy. And I'm, like I said, I have this time to kind of heal and hash some stuff out and be a better person. Yeah, so I'm just really thankful for that. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who is here tonight. Once again, shout out to the mods, because I changed the title as well, because I put the title as one thing earlier, but I've noticed that either YouTube algorithm would take my video down before I even record it, or somebody would report it. So I tried to leave it as something that was real generic, and then come back at the last minute and change it and make it into something else so that it's still up. Like D.O. Healy said, I ain't got no friends with 800 numbers. Shout out to Libby Brown. I hope that you get the justice too. Also consider making the books you recommended Amazon affiliate links. Absolutely, I will link those books in the description. Shout out to our brother or our family, R. Lawson, a BB Fahodier to you as well. AV the Great, thank you. You look good. Like I said, Georgia has been doing some great things for me. Also, I forgot who asked for postcards from my cross-country road trip. I left those here. So if you wanted one, email me, Tieesha.Essex@gmail, or send me a message if we're connected on social media with your address, and I will send you a postcard. I have about 100 different postcards. Here's the Grand Canyon when I drove through there. Here's Arizona. And when I was driving across Route 66. And also shout out to everybody who's placed the order at Tiemonics.shop. I just got the 3-in-1 knives in, which is right here. So everyone who had a 3-in-1 knife on back order, those are being shipped as we speak. I shipped a batch of them out today, and I will be up for a few more hours getting some more packaged up and sent out tomorrow. So thank you to everybody who went to Tiemonics.shop and made a purchase so that you can be a hard target. So I really appreciate you, Queen of Hearts, for being here, first time listener. Thank you so much. And my sister Latifah Williams, I'm happy you're out of Seattle and you can see the glow in your spirit. Absolutely. I was telling somebody today about, yeah, I'm happy to be out of the sunken place. That place was actually absolutely horrible. So middle finger to everybody that made my life hell when I was up there. Michael said, I love my knife. Thank you so much. Ed from VA said the same thing. I really appreciate y'all business and purchase. And let me know if there's anything I can do after the sale, because one thing that I strive for is great customer service after the sale. So, yeah, I am going to brother Black Voltron FBA 2020. Please inbox me or email me as well. I think you sent me one on Twitter, so I'm gonna check that. But yeah, I have to get in contact with you as well. Thank you for all of your support. So yeah, that is about it. If anything I leave with tonight, we need to have these conversations with ourselves and our children, establish a SOP, call things out for what they are. Targeted hits. Let's not give them innocent sounding names with, this innocence to it. Nope, you targeted my life, you violated my constitutional rights, you violated me, whatever. Call them out. Don't stay silent about it. And like I said, train up our children, get them on code, get ourselves on code, and become a united front. Shout out to everybody who has made Tieesha who Tieesha is. Shout out to the new Black media. Shout out to all of my friends, all of my family, and everyone here who is a supporter, subscriber. Offer me a kind word. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next video. The next video I am planning to do, so I can let you know, is I am probably going to do a pre-recorded video on holsters. Okay, holsters. I saw this article on the LA Times where they gave out bad information on holsters, and that's something that could harm us, put us in danger. So I'm going to try to record that video tomorrow and get it uploaded real soon, and I will give you a notification the next time I plan to go live. So that is about it. I will see you on the next video. I love you so much, and stay safe. You can always contact me on any of my social media platforms. Inbox me, leave a comment, send me an email, Tieesha.Essex@gmail, Tiemonics@gmail, anything like that, okay? I love you so much. Stay safe and stay on code. Have a good night, and I'll see you.